web development works, like whatever the background you have so far, like whether it may be mechanical engineering, BSc, civil engineering, electrical engineering, whatever it may be. If you want to like switch to IT, right? Say how the IT. I'm going to give you the whole idea like how you can start a career over here. So that's the main intention of this session. So first I'll be starting with our company itself. I'll give a short description about my company. I'll just share the screen. Everyone are able to hear my voice, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So like you might be have some of the doubts like how to start, where to start, from what point you have to start to get into the IT. So I'll be explaining like how the whole web development, where it starts from, like how you can complete the course, what are the knowledges you are going to gain from the knowledge what you have gained, how it going to land your career in IT. So please focus on everything what I say. It will be helpful for you going on. So this is about my company, which is like BitstreamIo. So this is a corporate and consulting company. So we provide corporate training. Like you might have not, you might don't know what corporate training means. In the sense like once you get placements, right? There the companies will train you like how these web technologies work, so that you can work, right? That training will be providing. So we have provided like n number of companies. We have provided corporate training. We have provided corporate training in Java full stack. So I will let you know what Java is, mean, MERN, DevOps, Azure, all these things further in the session. Courses we provide particularly about Java, Angular, mean stack, MERN stack, React JS, React Native, DevOps, and Azure. So here once if you can get into bitstreamio.com, you can get into our website and look what we have done so far. So here if you go to the portfolio, you can look what we have done so far. We have done corporate training, internships, and we have provided placements for n number of students who have completed the course over here. So let me start with the web development. So this session is all about explaining you about how advanced React JS with full stack development. You might not know what React JS, you might not know what full stack means, what full stack development means. So I will give you the overview of this. So suppose you say you have an application, like everyone have an Facebook account or Instagram account, like Flipkart, Amazon, all these things. You might have an account. So when it comes to an application, you have three parts: front end, back end, and database. These are the three parts which consist in an application. Front end is the part like what you are going to see a form, whether you are going to log in, right? That part. So I'll show you. I'll just myself will log in to a Facebook. Whatever you see over here, right? This will be the front end. So as I was saying, once you send your request to the credentials like ABC, name, and password like 123, if you send, right, that is a request you are sending into the server. Here in the back end, this is where the business logic has been written to validate your credentials, and it will check in the database whether the user exists or not. So once it verifies the user has been existed, it will give a response with your dashboard. Look, I'll show here. Look here, you have this Facebook, right? This is what front end is all about. This part what you are seeing, right? This is completely of front end. Look here, you have these credentials you are going to send. This is the front end part what I am saying. This is the front end. Here you are going to design this page. This page you are going to design it. So once you enter your credentials, right? So it will log in and will bring back you the dashboard of your profile, like whatever the post you have did, like whatever the comments you have done for a particular post, all these things will come back, right? So this is the front end, what you have seen on the UI, user interface. That is something you see in the Chrome. The credentials will go to the back end. Here the credentials have been validated, and then it is checked for the database whether a user exists with that particular credentials. So as I said, in an application you have these three things: front end, back end, and database. So we'll be starting with the front end. Why front end? Because something that you send from the back end, that is what validated in the back end, right? So we'll start with that. So here if you see with the full stack, like once you combine all these things, right, if you learn all these things like front end, back end, database, you will be a full stack developer. You might think like this will be a little bit difficult to learn all these things from the start, right? So you can choose from the front end or you can choose from the back end. Then you can learn the remaining part what is left. Suppose if you go with the front end, you have some things to learn over there like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Then you can start a career over with this. Then going on, you can learn the back end, and like about like 1 or 2 years you can become a full stack. Or else if you are good at web technologies or if you are good at learning, you can become a full stack developer right from the start. It takes time, but you can do that. So here in the front end, back end, database, if you combine these things, you will become a full stack developer. So let me go there and explain you about what all it consists in a full stack, like what are the technologies you need to know to become a full stack developer. So this is about full stack. You have front end, back end, and database. And as you can see, it consists of HTML in the front end, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. This is a fixed thing. Like if you want to learn something in the front end, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is mandatory. That is something you have to learn. When it comes to back end, right, you can choose any one. It is not that you have to learn all the back end languages. Any one particular back end language you can choose and you can learn. So in the front end, apart from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, these are all nothing but frameworks which you need for your front end. So what are these frameworks? So when you want to create a web page, you need HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And that web page, if you want to be user friendly and if you want that web page to be fast, you have to use these frameworks. I will get back to React, Angular, and Vue.js, but in the front end part, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is the mandatory thing what you have to learn before learning React or Angular. So when you come to back end, you have specific languages, like you might have heard about Java, .NET, Node.js, Python, then PHP, Dino. All these backend languages, like it's not like in the front end that is 3 technologies that you have to learn mandatory. Any one you can choose. Either you can go with Java, either you can go with Python, either you can go with Node.js. Then coming to the database. So database, as I told you, whatever the credentials you send, when it is validated from the backend, it will check in the database whether the user exists, right? That database can be of MongoDB, Firebase, MySQL, Oracle, PostgreSQL. I'm just giving you an overview. So don't think too far ahead, like this is all a little bit difficult for me to understand. This is just an overview, like how a full stack development is going to be, and from where you can start. If you continue to watch the session with me, along with me, you will get to know from where to start, which is better, and how to start. So this is about the full stack development. Now coming back, what we are going to do, like here in the full stack development, we have so many technologies in the front end, so many with the back end, and with the database we have these many things. So which will be better? So here if you come and look at it here, we have mean stack and merge stack. So going back, I told you here about MongoDB here in the database, right? And here if you can see Node.js, and here React and Angular. So here in the mean and merge stack, it consists of particular front end and back end things. So this is like also a full stack which is by mean and merge stack. So in the front end, as I said, HTML, CSS, that is compulsory. Then you have Bootstrap, React, Angular. So M means MongoDB, E means Express.js, A means Angular, N means Node.js. Mer means it is the same, instead of Angular you are going to choose with React. So what is this mean stack and merge stack? So in the front end, if you are going with HTML, CSS, Bootstrap, React, then in the back end Node.js, Then if you choose the database with MongoDB, that is nothing but mean and MERN stack. Nowadays companies are going with mean stack, MERN stack, or with full stack developers. Like suppose if you go with the front end, you might, like for example I'm saying, you might get a 3 lakh package. And if you go with the backend Node.js, like I don't want to get into front end, I'll start with the backend. So if you want to start like that, even for Node.js, they will be providing a 3 lakh package. But if you learn both, like front end and back end, and if you know how to integrate them, you will get like 3 plus 3, a whole lot of 6 lakh package you are going to get. You might think that, sir, I don't know anything about computer, or like I don't know anything about coding and all these things. But if you practice day in and day out, right, like with all the examples what you are going to provide over the course of time, if you practice day in and day out, we'll start with everything with zero. Like even if you don't know like how to start the computer, for example I'm saying, we'll start with that, which editor to use, which technology to use, like how to start. You might have all the doubts, like look here, how to get the logo here. For WhatsApp you have this here, how to get the name over here, and once I click this, how this page is going to present, render in the UI. All these things we will be training in this 2 to 3 months, what we are going to explain about full stack development with React.js. So again coming back here, as I said, you can start with the front end. Like if you are a slow learner, no sir, this thing will be too hectic for us, I'll start with the front end. You can start with the front end. Or else if you want to start with the back end, you can start with the back end. So these are the technologies what we are going to cover. Now coming back here, as I said, there are so many technologies. Why we are choosing only React.js and Node.js, mean and MERN stack? Why we are choosing that? So if you look at this page, what I'm going to explain now, MERN stack, here you are going to know what it is of. Like as I said, MongoDB, Express.js, R React.js, and N for Node.js. So JavaScript, as I told, if you learn JavaScript, right, React.js and Node.js, it won't be that much difficult for you to learn if you have learned JavaScript. So look here, I'll start with the React.js. React is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library. This is not a programming language which you learn like back-end programming languages. You have heard about Java, right? Like that, it is not a programming language, it is just a library which you are going to integrate with your web page for builder user interfaces based on UI components. UI means user interface. Like as I said in the Facebook, right, I'm going to enter the credentials. That is what user interface means. When it comes to React, everything that you are going to build is with of components, and it is maintained by Meta. Meta means, already you know, it is nothing but Facebook and a community of individual developers and companies. So Node.js is also an open source cross-platform backend JavaScript runtime. Look here, JavaScript library, here JavaScript runtime environment. So as I said before, if you are good with JavaScript, React.js and Node.js will be easy for you to understand. So we won't be starting right away from React.js, like what is React.js and all those things. We will start from HTML. You should know how to build a web page, and for that HTML you will be using CSS, which means you are going to add the design for that web page. JavaScript will make that page to get into an action, like you have to enter some credentials, it will make active. So if you know those JavaScript concepts, this React.js and Node.js will be easy for you to understand going on. So let me come back to here. It's a backend JavaScript runtime environment that runs on the V8 engine and executes JavaScript code outside a web browser. And this Express.js is nothing but a framework for Node.js. So this backend you are using Node.js, right? For that, it is a framework which will be helping for that, to design for building web applications and APIs. APIs, what are these API means? Like as I said before, when I give the credentials of a Facebook, username and password, that will get into the backend, right? And it will hit the server. To hit that server, that is what API means. It will hit the server with the help of this API. Then you have MongoDB. It's a source available cross-platform document-oriented database program. So it's a database. It will store the data over there, like whether it might be your credentials, like whatever the data that you want to be secured, right? And you have to reuse that data. That data will be here in the database. So this is about MERN stack. And here, if it is about MEAN, it is of Angular. That's it. Angular is a framework. React is a library. And you will get to know why React is the best when you compare with the Angular. That doesn't mean that Angular has no scope, but React is better than Angular. You will get to know how once when we start with React. So the next part is front end and back end, as we said, right? So here, if you see in the back end, we have, as I told, you can choose any one. Like for PHP, you might get 20% of the opportunity as a developer. For Java, so like you have 5 technologies over here which are completely different from each other. But whatever the backend languages you see here, for that, these are all mandatory from the front end, which is HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, and React. Bootstrap is also like a library for CSS, for designing part. React is a library of JavaScript. So this is the front end part. You are going to start with HTML. This is about creating a web page. CSS, designing a web page. JS, having some actions over that web page. This React is a library which makes this web page faster because of its virtual DOM. You might not know what DOM is, but you will eventually get to know once we start with the course. So as I said, if you become a backend developer, you might get less opportunities. If you start with the front end, you will have more opportunities irrespective of the backend what they are going to use. Or you can combine both to become a full stack developer. Like I was saying before, like Vue.js, Express.js, all those things, right? Why to choose React? So React, you have so many reasons to choose React. Here I am going to show you like which are the main. Like it is developed and maintained by Meta, which is of a Facebook only. When you hear the word about Meta, that is completely maintained by Facebook. So React is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library. So this thing I have been repeating a lot. I'll show you, and what are all these frameworks and libraries of JavaScript, I'll let you know. If you go to JavaScript official website, so you'll get to know the libraries and frameworks what it has. It has like almost 14 lakh frameworks and libraries it has. So this is the official website of JavaScript, and it has like 14 lakh libraries. You don't need to worry to learn all those 14 lakh. You have to just know the concepts and basics of JavaScript. If you know those things, any library and framework that comes with JavaScript, right, you can master them. Look here, 14,44,231 libraries, and it is still counting. In the sense, they are still developing even more libraries and frameworks. So that is what they are. That is what I'm trying to say here, and I have been repeating myself. Front-end JavaScript library. So out of that 14 lakh, React is one of them, and nowadays React is one of the most used library. Like if you have, I'll get to that part. What are the applications you are using, right? Like Instagram and Facebook, all those things are built by React. And you might see like how you have been doing those like user friendly. Like if you want to post over in the Instagram, if you want to comment, if you want to reply to a comment, like if you want to upload a video, look at the quality of those pictures and videos, and look at how user friendly interface it has. That is built by React only. And when it comes to desktop applications, we use React.js. When it comes to building mobile applications, we use React Native. I'll get to that part by the end of the session. So as I was saying, React is a free and open source front-end JavaScript library for building user interfaces based on UI components. Like everything in React is built with components, and it is maintained by Meta. And it has faster development. You can increase your productivity by using the reusable components and development tools. So how is this reusable components? So I'll give you an idea. like I'm going to create one component. That component I'm going to use in my application, and if I have to be using the same thing that is in the component, I can just take that component only instead of writing the whole code. It means once you create a component, you can reuse it. You can, like, page A, page B, page C. I have a component for page A, and in page C I have to use the same code. So instead of writing the code, I can use the same component instead. That is what reusable components means, which will make the code less. If the code is very less in your application, the application will be much faster when it is rendering in the UI. So that is one of the feature of faster development. Then it has rich user interface. Like, you might have been heard this user interface. As I said, in Instagram, if you want to comment, and if you want to upload a video, and if you want to post a picture, like, that is what user interface. The interface is what the user is experiencing over there, right? How it is going to look over there. If you have used Instagram, you know how rich it is looking. So that is about rich user interface. React lets you build rich user interfaces easily. Quality of user interface is important because a poorly designed user interface is generally less user friendly. If I have to say an example, you have heard about the application Ku, which is an replicate of Twitter of an Indian version, right? You go there and look at the user interface. You might feel like this is like a old school, but look at Instagram how it is looking. So you can get to know what user interfaces means. So that is what they are saying. User interfaces is important because a poorly designed user interface is generally less user friendly. You don't want to use it anymore. If you go and see, like, Facebook Lite, you might have been seen Facebook Lite. When you don't have enough RAM in your mobile, you will be choosing Facebook Lite. Like 2 to 3 years back, there was like Facebook Lite. If you see the user interface over there, it was somewhat like old school. Like, it was not designed properly. The user interface is very poor. Now if you use Facebook and Instagram, look how the user interface over there, which is built by React. So that is the whole point, what rich user interface means. Then developer community. So what is this developer community? Like, suppose if you have a WhatsApp group for something, like suppose if you have a WhatsApp group for your school friends, there everything what you want to interchat there, you can chat over there, right? Like that, this developer community means, for React there is a community which consists of 40k available components, which means whatever the component you want to build, suppose you want to build a component for a shopping cart, whether you want to build a component for chat application, like that, it has over 40k components over there. 40,000 components which are pre-built over there. So when you use React, right, you have to just import those packages to make them work. No need to hard code everything, to search Google and everything. All this will be imported from npm only. Then it is trusted by great companies. I will explain about the companies which have been using React next. So many companies like PayPal, LinkedIn, Netflix, Uber, many more companies are using this React. So this is the overview, like why to choose React, which is the user interface is very rich and it is very fast because of its reusable component feature, and it is maintained by Facebook. And many of the companies which you are using day in day out, the applications what you are using, those have been done by React. So let me go with the applications which are made with React. So here you have Dropbox. Dropbox means, like, if you want to take something from the Google, right, you will drag and drop. For that they have an application like Dropbox. Dropbox is a web-based file hosting service operated by Dropbox. It will host the applications in that use cloud computing to enable users to rehand and share files. So this is one of the application. And then you have been seen Instagram. As I was saying from the start, Instagram, it is made of React. Then Netflix, like you already know Netflix, like you can browse through web series, movies and everything, right? Even that Netflix have been built with React. So if you have a Netflix account, you can see how rich the user interface is, and that is only because of React. Then you have this Pinterest. Then you have this WhatsApp web version. Web version in the sense means that is not something that you download in your mobile, but if you have connected to through your laptop, you will scan and you'll get into the Facebook, right? That is also made with React. Then PayPal, you might have no idea about PayPal. PayPal means, like here in India, how we use phone pay, Google Pay and everything, right? Like for the whole world they have a digital payment transformation through this PayPal. So and that has been built with React. And Uber Eats and Facebook, as I said, it is maintained by Facebook, so even the Facebook has been using this with React. So this is the React what we are going to use. So as I said, this Instagram, Netflix, Facebook and WhatsApp, these applications we are using day in and day out. Like every day we'll be using WhatsApp, and whenever the time we have free we'll be logging into Netflix, Facebook and Instagram. These things what you are using in your daily life has been built with React. So next, for the React front end, we need to have a backend, right, which is Node.js. As I said, mean stack and merge stack, we use Node.js as a backend. And I'll show you some of the companies, like as I said, LinkedIn, PayPal, Yahoo, Mozilla, Netflix, PayPal, Uber, GoDaddy. So all these applications have been using Node.js as their backend language. So these are all the much used applications in a day, all over the world, not in only in India, all over the world. This PayPal, LinkedIn, Mozilla, Netflix, PayPal, Uber, GoDaddy, in every day all over the world they are using these applications, and these applications are made with Node.js when it comes to backend, and with React, that's the library what they are using for the front end. So the database what I was saying was MongoDB, right? mean M. So look here, Google, EA, Thermo Fisher, SAP, Cisco, Adobe, eBay, Gap, Barclays and KPMG. All these applications, all these companies, right, they are using MongoDB as their database to store data. The applications, these applications, whatever the data the users use, right, those data are stored in the database. That database is nothing but the MongoDB here. So this is the reason why you have to choose React, Node.js and MongoDB. Express.js you don't need to worry. If you are using Node.js, Express.js will be a framework to use for the Node.js. So look at these companies. These companies are like biggest companies in the world. If these companies are using this, like this is the technology that you have to go through to get a job, right? So that is why we have made these things, like which are the applications that are made with React, Node.js and MongoDB. But it's not like that. If you know, like few of the people might have been interested in SQL because in college they have done a project, you can choose SQL. There is no wrong with that. What I'm trying to say is that these things have been used with the companies which are very biggest in the world, and day-to-day life applications what you're using there, these technologies have been implemented over there. So if you learn these technologies, like there is a easy way for you to get a job, and you might not worry like how to master all this. We have course content, we have sessions for that over the course of 2 to 3 months time. Everything that will be starting from zero. The editor what you choose, what you have to type to create a folder, in that folder how you are going to create web pages, design them, how to integrate them with React, everything we are going to teach you. So this is about MongoDB. So the next thing is that mobile applications. So if you know React.js is for desktop applications. Like whatever you are going to see with the laptop or the system you are going to do, those are called desktop applications. For mobile, which you are downloading from Play Store, that we call mobile applications. And for mobile applications using React, we have React Native. Look here, React.js is for React.js is for desktop applications. If you want to become an app developer, like you're going to create an app and the user is going to download from the Play Store, right? For that you need to learn React Native. So if you learn React.js, React Native will be easy for you. If we know React.js, we can become React Native app developer. So you have to learn React.js to build desktop applications, web applications. Once you know how the desktop applications work with the React, then you will get the idea to create a React native app. Like whatever the code you are going to do, right, only some changes are there in React native app. So web, that is for JS, this to iOS and Android, which is basically a mobile app, you'll be doing with React native. So if you learn React JS, there is an opportunity for you to become React native developer too. You can start with React native developer too right away. So it's like, sir, I don't want to learn React JS, I'll get on to React native. Yeah, that's fine. But if you learn React JS, it will be easy for you to learn React native too. And next you have how to choose career with a front end. So as I said before, if you start a career with the front end, it will be easy for you. Like you have to know how to design them, how to integrate the credentials to get into using APIs to send them to the backend. So over the course of time, like if you work 1 or 2 projects as a front end developer, you will have the whole idea how the front end works. Then you can concentrate on the back end, like whatever the data you send, how it is going to validate over there. So every look here, every backend language having common front end. If you use Java, front end is same: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. If you are going to use PHP, front end is same: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, React. If you are going with the Node.js, that is also same. That is what we are trying to say here. Every backend language having common front end language. So if you start your career with the front end, like when you compare front end with the back end, right, front end will be bit easy for you. So you will get the whole idea, as I said before, how to integrate these things. Then you can focus on the back end thing. Front end languages are nothing but HTML5. Like no need to worry, sir, whether I have to learn HTML1, 2, 3. No, right away we'll start with HTML5 and we'll let you know the difference, how it is different from different versions. Then CSS3, Bootstrap 4, AngularJS, React.js and Vue.js. Even here, it's not that you have to learn AngularJS and React.js both. Any one you can choose. And our company has been mainly focusing on React.js, and I told you the reasons before why React. And then you can come to a conclusion, like over this course, what all you are going to learn. Like we will be starting with the front end JS. We'll start with HTML, how to build a web page from zero. Then it is easy to become Node.js developer. As I said, once you learn how things work in the front end, then it will be easy for you to understand how backend works with Node.js. Then you can become a React native developer. As I said, if you learn React.js, becoming a React native developer is not that a big thing. Then if you are much interested, then you can still learn this AI, artificial intelligence, ML, machine learning developer, all these things. But for all these things, you need to know some of the front end and back end languages. Then you have many more frameworks. This Node.js, React, AngularJS, Vue.js, Express.js are nothing but frameworks. So once you start building an application, you will get to have the idea about different frameworks that are from JavaScript. Then you can develop blockchain project. Means once you know how to build a project right from 0 to 100, you know how the flow works, you can develop a blockchain project. This blockchain is not like something that you think, like it's completely based on securing your application. It will be much encrypted. So start with the front end, get to know back end, start building apps, learn about artificial intelligence, machine learning, then learn more about JavaScript, then complete with blockchain. You can build your own blockchain project with that. So start with this, just focus on this. Start with the front end, master it, know what HTML does, what CSS does, what React does. Then go for Node.js. So once you master it, you can build your own app. At least you will have the skills like how to build an application. Then you can focus on the remaining things. And in our course, we'll be explaining you like what are the things we'll be going through. So in React, so when it comes to React, you have so many concepts. Like we are going to cover the concepts what companies are looking in a candidate. Like whatever the projects they are going to build, there are few of the concepts which is much more important in React. So which are all those? They are nothing but React, Redux, hooks, sagas, context API. So these 5 concepts will be explained by us when we start with React.js, which will land you a job. Like companies will be looking a candidate who have more knowledge over React, Redux, hooks, sagas, and context API. So these things in React we are going to explain. HTML, CSS, JS, like even there we are going to explain so many concepts. But when it comes to React, these 5 are very much important to land a job. This Redux and context API, you will have the idea when we start with React. This is used for prop drilling. So when we start React, we have a concepts of props, and that props is not a good thing when we have n number of props. To manage that, we use Redux and context API. And in the React, we use hooks and sagas to make React faster. That's it. No need to worry. Like even in React, there are more concepts to learn. You learn React, then you will have the idea why we should use these 4 things. It comes under React only. So that is about this. And as I said, so this is what you are going to see over the course of time. Like from tomorrow, we'll be starting from technical part, like how to create a folder, how to create a HTML page, how it is going to render in the Chrome, like how I'm going to design it, where I have to implement React, everything. So I'll be going with this course part. Look, these are all the course content we have and that we are going to offer. So if you want to go for web basics, we have a content for that. Like for complete web application, what you have to learn. Look here, we have HTML, CSS and JS. So to create a web page without using any framework or library, how to create a web page first. So we will be covering these things, HTML, CSS and JavaScript, which are a mandatory things for a front-end developer, right? We will be starting with HTML, like how you are going to start, how to start them, what all it consists of. Then HTML documents, doc type. Look, this is the course content we have. We'll, as I said from the beginning, we will be starting from zero. So no need to worry, sir, is there something that I have to learn before to start these things? No. I'll be helping you guys from the start. Create a new folder, take a VS Code, like which is the editor that is suited for React. From there on, how to start. So we have HTML, CSS content here, and then we have for React a separate content. For main stack, Java full stack, we have a separate course content. Look here, React, Redux, hooks. As I said before, everything React, Redux, hooks. Look, all these 3 we have over here. React, Redux, hooks PDF. Here you will get to know how React works, how Redux works, why we need to use hooks, all these things. And you might see like, sir, this is like just for reading. If I want to practice examples, how am I able to going to do that? For that also we have our own web application. For practical examples also, we have our own examples. And not only this, from tomorrow when we start, right, I'm going to explain you everything technically. Everything that will be of practically. There will be like no notes for you to just remember. If you learn with practical things, right, then why do you need notes? Like if you are good at it technical, you can explain the concept how it works from your own explanation. If you look here, we have this HTML, CSS, JS. So here if you go there, you have course content which you can just read what all it contains. But when you come to this, we have our own examples like how things works. Look, you have to use this tags. This we call it as elements. And whatever the thing, here we have title, here we have title. This thing we call it as opening tag and a closing tag. And what you write inside of this, that will be presented in the web page. So I'll just start with a small technical example and I'll end the session. So this is all over the overview of what you are going to do with the course. Okay. Now I'm going to just explain you like how it is going to work. Okay. So from start I'm going to do. You are going to first create a new folder, like if you have to practice, right? I'm going to create a new folder. So you will be starting with the HTML, right? So I'm going to write HTML, name of the folder. Like it is saying already it exists. I'm going to write HTML examples. Okay, now you have created this folder, and this folder you have to download this VS Code. Okay, this is the best suited editor. I'm going with this. There are many editors like Sublime, IntelliSense, Atom. There are many, but Visual Studio Code is one of the best with what I am using. So when I right click it, I'll be opening with the code. Like this is a small example like how we are going to start with technical things. So once you do that, this folder will be opened with the VS Code. If you look at the bottom, it is going to look, if you look here, it has been opened. Like this will be usually fast, but now I'm getting some problems with the system. Usually it will be fast. So no need to worry like, sir, this application might take some time. All those things, nothing. So this is the editor which we are going to use to code starting from HTML. So here I can start with a file. So I'm going to just write demo.html. Why? This is a HTML file. Whatever you're going to create a file, if you have to end it with, you have to end it with .html. When it comes to CSS, you will be ending with .css. When it comes to React.js, when you are going to create files, you are going to end it with .js. So look here, you have created this file demo.html, right? So here I'm going to write doc type HTML. So from tomorrow you will get the idea why you should write this doc type HTML, because it is going to say that it is HTML5. So after that you have, this is the elements what I am saying about HTML. This is a opening tag and a closing tag. Look here, this is a opening tag and a closing tag. So inside this you will be having this body tag which you are going to see in the Chrome. Whatever you code, right, that thing you are going to see in the Chrome. Suppose if I write h1, this is a tag, and I'm going to write welcome everyone. Now if I click on here and if I go with open with live server, it will come in the Chrome. So this is the first web page what you are going to create. Going on with the help of CSS, you are going to design them to make it colorful or to make it attractive, and then you will have JavaScript code. And then finally we will end the course with React.js, like how to integrate them. Well, VS Code is running too slow for me, but for you guys, when you start with React.js with VS Code, right, it will be faster. So this is how you are going to start. Look here, it is going to say, no, this is the web page. The file name was demo.html, right? Once this page renders, here it is going to display, look here, welcome everyone. So this is the code what I have made to create a web page, and that web page have been rendered in the UI in the Chrome. Look here, I have WhatsApp, here I have Google Meet, where I have been talking all these things, right? Here you have been run. So if you want to change them, that is completely of CSS part. You are going to design them. Then JavaScript to make your web page interactive. So if you guys have any doubts or any suggestions, any feedbacks, you can go ahead. If you have any doubts or any questions you want to ask. So this is about the demo session what I have to explain, like what you are going to learn over the course of time. So is there any doubts or any suggestions or feedbacks you guys have to speak about?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Sharan.
Sir, you told like you from tomorrow again you'll like start from HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, no, sir?
Yeah.
But actually, like I think like from 1 month back, Vishwanath sir.
No. That is completely a different batch. This is a new batch for January. That will be continued by 10 AM from Vishwanath sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
This is a
Because,
complete
like, I'm
from
from that batch, so I
yeah, I got that. You're from that batch. Now you are going through React, right? React has
Yes.
should be starting, right?
Yes, sir. It started also, sir.
Yeah,
It's
this is
very-
a fresh batch from January. Like who are the people who are interested will be starting from HTML. Like this is a different batch.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So any other doubts apart from Charan? Yeah, guys, if there are no questions to ask, I'll meet you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, everyone. So from tomorrow, it's completely technical part. Have a great day, everyone. I'll meet you tomorrow.
Okay, sir. Thank you.